On May 5th, 1996, two Japanese female friends went missing without any trace. They were nowhere to be found for years after years. This missing case was finally solved thanks to the recent findings in 2020. However, it remained as one of the most discussed topics as it was related to paranormal activity. But sometimes, humans are scarier than devils. Welcome to Missing Piece, I'm Dr. P. Today we will talk about a solved mystery case of missing Japanese girls from a haunted place, the Subuno Spa Hotel, which has held a secret for over 24 years. It was a very unusual missing case. 24 years ago, on Sunday, May 5th, 1996, two Japanese young girls, Narumi Takumi and Megumi Yashiki, both 19, decided to embark on a test of courage, or a kimo-dameshi, by exploring a nearby abandoned hotel at midnight. The Subuno Spa Hotel was rumored to be a paranormal spot among teenagers back then. These girls informed their families and left home around 9 p.m. They drove to the Subuno Spa Hotel by Megumi Yashiki's black Subaru Vivo car. Before heading to the site, they have done some research. This place was originally designated to be a hotel next to a hot spring. However, the company that owned this place went bankrupt in 1982 and left the hotel unoccupied and untouched since then. Despite remaining untouched, two separate unknown fires were reported in 1985 and 1990. After these two strange fire incidents, the Subuno Spa Hotel became a paranormal spot and people started to visit. At 10 p.m., about an hour after they left home, they arrived at the Kaiomaru water park, which is about halfway between their starting point and the hotel. They stopped by to meet a friend and chat. Later, their car was spotted on the highway towards Wozu, which is the city where the Subuno Spa Hotel was located. The car was spotted sometimes after 10 p.m. However, those two females supposedly went missing after the last text message to a friend were at Wozu around 10 p.m. Then they just went missing. 2 days later, their families reported to the police. The police officers searched around the hotel, but they weren't able to find any trace or evidence from the girls. They considered all possibilities of crimes, accidents, and others. Because even a car was missing, police officers also focused on searching nearby lakes because there has been frequent cliffball accidents. However, they faced difficulties finding both the missing car and the girls. With the unsuccessful investigations, people start to think about theories around this missing case. First, both girls were alumni from the same schools and were not underage. This means that there's no reasons for them to run away from their families or schools. Also, both girls liked paranormal activities and spots. Additionally, this hotel, even though it was abandoned, it was later occupied by gangs. This opens up the possibilities of crime instead of a mystery case. However, regardless of all these theories, there's one fact. The car was not found near the hotel. So one theory is that they arrived at the hotel but they were involved in some crime. And another theory is that before they could arrive at the hotel, they faced some issues when they were in the Kaiomaru water park, where they were either involved in a crime or an accident, and they were not able to continue their trips to the hotel. But in this case, who sent out the last text messages? With all the unknowns, the case remained as a mystery for everyone and the police for many years. However, after 18 years, the police learned about the existence of witnesses and obtained testimonies from a group of 3 males who indicates that they saw a missing car and 2 females. They shared that a car with 2 females dropped from a parking lot into the sea near the Kaiomaru water park at midnight of a major holiday in 1996. Years after unsuccessful investigations, the case was finally solved in January 2020. So this group of 3 men indicated that they were on a vacation and visited the Kaiomaru water park. So supposedly this Kaiomaru water park is a gathering and pickup place for young adults. So the 3 men approached to 2 young ladies in a car but suddenly the car turned around and found the water. They indicated that they were too startled to even report the case to the police. For some reasons, it appears to many people that they have been hiding this case for 24 years. So in summary, 3 men approached to the 2 young ladies. However, the car fell into the water where the 3 men were not able to do anything to prevent this from happening. After a long 24 years, the cars and bones were finally found at the locations where the 3 men indicated. The car was found on March 4th, 2020, and dead bodies were found inside the car. By the time they were discovered, most of the body had been decomposed and only the bone left. The police attempt to search the area and collect as many bones as possible, but it was difficult to collect all as the body or bones could have flown away with water. With the bones found, DNA test confirmed that the 2 bodies belonged to the missing females from 24 years ago, Narumi Takumi and Megumi Yashiki. Thus, this unsolved mysteries finally came to a conclusion after 24 years. With the case solved, people start to post their responses online.
Thought that there was more mysteries into it.
Glad that this unsolved case finally came to an end.
As you might think similarly, some suspect that this solved mysteries was merely an accident. Is it really true what those guys said? What if they lied? Why didn't they report back then? Things are about to get dark in a second. Now we are going to dive deep into the statements and possible theories around this mysterious case. What we know so far is that this group of 3 males approached to the girls. Then the car acted weird and fell into water. The 3 men didn't report to the police because they were so startled and scared. With that, one question has come to my mind. Why didn't they call the police for help? If they only approached the girls for a talk and then saw the car falling into water, there's no reason not to report this accident unless it wasn't really an accident. Also, the park was at a harbor, which means that there were security cameras everywhere around this area. Even if the 3 men may be on the suspect list after reporting the incidents, if there were enough evidence from the security camera to prove their innocence, they shouldn't be this startled or scared. So many suspect that these guys were involved in the death of the 2 girls and were trying to cover it up. This suspicion is quite valid since the guys only came out as witnesses after 24 years, which is beyond the statute of limitations. There are more to this case. The car was found between the girls' home and the haunted hotel at a place where they're supposed to meet their friends around 9 and 10 p.m. So does that mean that they didn't even go to the haunted hotel? Did this accident happen before or after they're supposed to visit the haunted place? It is hard to say that they had not been to the haunted hotel because the surveillance camera spotted their vehicle going towards the hotel around 10 p.m. Or did they come back from the hotel to the water park for some reason, then some accidents happened? If so, what was the reason for them to come back? So let's switch the gear and talk about the car itself. Based on the witness's statement, the car acted weird and drove itself into water. How could a car act weird? To understand better, we have to first take a look at the vehicle itself. So this car is a Subaru Vivio, a relatively light and supposedly front-wheel driving vehicle. And if there's no bump by the area of accidents, the vehicle can easily fall into water. However, there are several bumps around the area and a few conditions have to be satisfied in order for us to match with the statements from the witnesses. Firstly, let's say that the car is near a bump. Even if the car acts up, the front wheel would be most likely stuck on the bump, and by the nature of front wheel driving, the back tire wouldn't be able to push forward the vehicle to cause the accident. Secondly, let's say that the car was parked at some distance away from the bump. If the car was distant enough and have enough momentum to go over the bumper, the car would have fallen into water, but we would be able to see some damage to the tire and the bumper. However, investigations indicated that there was no impact to the front tire, as you would see in case that the car really acts up and rushes itself into the water. This means that the car gently ran over the bump and slid into water. So this makes people start to suspect the witnesses. Also, let's say that the car really acted up and fell into the water. If the girls were conscious, they would have attempted to escape from the car before the car sunk into the water. However, from what we have found from the scene, the bodies were just in the car, which indicates that there were no attempt to escape, or the girls were unconscious when the car was sliding into the water. For example, what if they were already dead when the car was falling into the ocean? However, the investigations didn't find any external forces exerted on the bodies of the car that would indicate that the case would be a homicide case. In the end, many questions remained unanswered and people wondered if the witnesses were lying. There was a post from 2001 and has getting more and more attention recently. Here's the post. It was about summer 1997. I was working at a small supermarket and talking to coworkers about the incidents. There were 3 customers at a time, and one of the customers asked us to come. He appeared to be in his late 20s and seems a little scary to us. He smoked silently for a while and then spoke to us. Do you like scary stories? I'll let you know more about that hotel case, but you can't tell anyone, otherwise I will kill you. I was scared but interested to hear more about what he would say. The following is what he told me. These 2 female victims were scared to go into the haunted place by themselves, so they went onto the water park to find someone to go with. They found 2 guys from the water park and asked them if the guys could go with them. The guys said yes, and each male and female pair got into the car and headed to the haunted place. One of these guys in the car messages his 3 other friends and told them to wait in the designated area. They drove to the mountain instead of the hotel they were supposed to go. When they arrived, the 2 guys whom the victims met at the water park and their 3 friends raped these young females. When victims screamed out that they would report to the police, they choked the victim to death and placed the dead body into the manhole. Among the 5 guys involved in the case, one of them committed suicide, another one is now in hospital, and another one is missing. He survived, but didn't seem normal. Lastly, he mentioned that he can't drive since then because every time he drives and looks into the rear view mirror, he can see that the girl's car was chasing after him. The post looks more like a scary story to me. If the victims were placed in the manhole, why were the bodies later found in the car? There is the possibility that the girls were raped by these guys first and choked to death, and then the body was placed in the car, which was then pushed into the sea. Choking would cause fractures to the hyoid bone, which is this tiny little bone around here. However, this bone is first quite tiny and can be easily lost when bodies decompose in the water. Therefore, it's very possible that the police were not able to find any traces of external forces on the remaining bones they could find. However, if the witnesses were not involved in the death of these 2 young females, why were they afraid to call the police? If they had reported to the police right away, the girls could have been saved. Or did they know that the girls were already dead? Were they involved in the death of these 2 girls? Why did they only come out after the statute of limitations? There are still many questions remain to be answered for this case. For example, we don't know the exact time of death nor where exactly the car was parked in the parking lot. Supposedly, the witness said that the car was located very close to the shore, but there are still the suspicions on how the car could fall into the water if they were near the shore where there were a lot of bumps. Also, if the girls were conscious, when the car found the water, we will be able to find traces that would indicate the girls' attempts to escape from the car. Even if they were asleep when this accident happened, water coming into the car should have awakened the girls, and which could lead to some actions to escape. Furthermore, why didn't the witnesses report right away? Why did they only come out after the statute of limitations? With all these unknowns and questions, many people suspect that the case was not simply an accident. So in the end, the case was not completely solved yet. Victims from the missing case were found, but there are still numerous questions about whether the deaths were a simple accident or murder. This is the end of our story today. If you enjoy mystery stories, please follow our channel for weekly mysteries. Also, please don't forget to check out other videos from our channel. See you next time.